Thank you, Eric. If at any point anyone can't hear me, please let me know. I'm fighting a cold right now, so I'm hoping my voice will hold out, but just raise your hands or something if you can't hear me. Thank you. So as Eric said, my name is Roxanne Coryell. I'm the Sustainability and Recycling Coordinator at Southern Oregon University. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, I'll give you a brief background of SOU to kind of give you our stats for those of you that are less familiar with the university. And I'll tell you about how we started our climate action plan, what our carbon footprint looks like, what we're doing to help reduce that footprint, and then I'll give you a very brief update on the climate action planning that the city of Ashland is doing. So to start, Southern Oregon University is down in Ashland. We have about 4,500 full-time equivalent students and about 6,000 of a full head count. We're a public liberal arts university. We have about 600 employees, 1,000 students that live on campus, and we have a really beautiful campus that's built into the hills there. So we started our climate action plan in 2007 when our former president, Mary Cullinan, signed what was formerly known as the American College and University's President's Climate Commitment. It's a big mouthful, and they've recently changed it just to be known as Second Nature's Climate Commitment. They're an organization that works with universities to help do climate action planning, and they're now expanding to really look at resilience. And so as part of that commitment, we formed a sustainability council. It's a 15-member council that has faculty, staff, and students, and sometimes we have openings for community members. And that council worked to create our climate action plan. The plan has goals for climate neutrality, and it also sets some actions or steps that we should take to be able to get there. So our greenhouse gas emission targets, the plan that we adopted in 2010, and that year we wanted to arrest the growth of emissions from our campus. And then by 2015, be 5% below 1990 levels, 10% below in 2020, and to be climate neutral by 2050. We're not as aggressive as some universities, but this is more aggressive than the state goals, which call for us to be 75% below 1990 levels in 2050. So we're striving to be a little bit better than the state wants us to be. So here's a look at our footprint. And when we were doing the plan back in between 2007 and 2010, they had to try and figure out our footprint for 1990, because that's what the state set as our baseline emissions. But there wasn't very much information available. So the footprint for 1990 is largely estimates based on the information they had for the years after that. So a lot of our interim targets we moved to be based off of our 2008 footprint because it's a more accurate footprint. We have a lot more energy data for that time. But as you can see here, in general, over time, we've been seeing a decrease in our emissions. The one sector that, how many people here are familiar with different scopes of a carbon footprint? Okay, so very briefly, there's 3 scopes when you're measuring your carbon footprint. Scope 1 is direct emissions. That's combustion that happens on campus, so it's our fleet, any fuel that we combust, like our natural gas that we use on campus, refrigerant loss, so it's emissions that happen directly on our campus. Scope 2 is indirect emissions, which is our purchased electricity, and we purchase our electricity through the city of Ashland that gets it through the Bonneville Power Administration. And then Scope 3 is other indirect emissions. And there's a lot of things that you can include, but what we include is commuting, air travel, and solid waste. So based on that, Scope 1 and Scope 2 are pretty easy to measure because it's really about the energy or the fuel that you use. But Scope 3 is very difficult to measure. We can kind of make estimates on air travel based on how much money we spend on it. And solid waste, we work with Recology, our waste hauler, to get information about the volume that they haul. But for commuting, it's very difficult to know how people are getting to campus, how often, what kind of vehicles they're using. So it's based off of a survey. So you can see that from year to year, particularly in fiscal year 2012, we had very different responses to our survey than we're used to, so it really throws off what our footprint looks like. So to give you a slightly better picture, here I took out our Scope 3 emissions so you can see based on our energy use what we're doing. So we're getting really close to achieving our target. Last year, we were a little above what we were hoping to be this year as our target, and a lot of that is due to an increase in square footage on campus. As some of you may know, we just built 3 new buildings that are all LEED certified, but we added 200,000 square feet to the campus we already had without taking anything away. So it added a lot to our energy use. So we're doing a lot to try and reduce our footprint. Some of the things that we're doing are energy efficiency and conservation. So any chance we get, we work with the city of Ashland that has some great incentive programs to change out, to upgrade our equipment. We do a lot of lighting upgrades and retrofits. So we initially worked with the Department of Energy to switch out a lot of our buildings from T12 fluorescents to T8s. And now we're switching to LEDs everywhere that we can. Saves us a lot of energy, and it also saves us a lot of labor hours in changing out lights. We also work on all of our renovations and new constructions to make them as energy efficient as possible. All new construction has to meet LEED standards, which is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So our 3 new buildings that are the residence halls and dining hall are all LEED Gold. The building just down the road here that we share with RCC is LEED Platinum, and our science building, which is partially open, it will be completely open in the winter, is trying to get LEED Silver. And that one's a renovation. So those we don't have to get certified, but we're taking the extra step for the science building. You can see a picture there of one of our new residence halls. We also try and have as much renewable energy on campus as we can. Right now we have 5 solar installations total. One's on the Higher Education Center here. We have a total of 249 kilowatts of solar, which is only about 1% of our energy use, but considering how much electricity we use, it's a pretty significant amount. We also have solar hot water heating on our new residence hall and our dining hall, which cuts down a lot on our natural gas use. And then transportation's a big piece for us, not only in our campus fleet, but as you saw in our footprint for Scope 3 emissions, commuting is a huge piece for us. So we're always working to try and get people to use better transportation methods to campus. So within our campus fleet, we use a lot of electric vehicles. We have 5 right now. 3 of them look like that funny little white Hummer down there. And we're also working with students, faculty, and staff to teach them and educate them, empower them to get to campus in ways other than driving alone. So we have free bus passes for faculty and staff, reduced fares for students. We have a bike share program where people can loan a bike for a day, a term, a quarter, or for a whole year. And we're providing a lot of education to students to help them get on their bikes, get on their feet, use the bus, and find ways to get to campus that's not driving their car by themselves. And we're also trying to find ways to support opportunities, because a lot of you may know, a lot of the things that we want to do, especially with renewable energy or energy conservation, can sometimes require a lot of money up front. And so we've created these different funds. The first one that we had was the Student Green Fund, which was created by students. They pay their own fee to create opportunities for students to have sustainability projects. They used to use it to purchase carbon offsets, but recently they switched, and now they purchase water restoration certificates. And we're the first university in the world to offset 100% of our water use through these credits. And then they also fund sustainability projects. Thank you. They also fund sustainability projects, which includes some of the solar panels we've done on campus and the campus farm. And the new thing that we have is a climate action fund, which was just started this year, and that the university pays 1% fee on all air travel to fund projects on campus that will directly impact our carbon footprint. So that's going to have a balance for the first time this year, so we'll start having projects on campus that are funded by that, which is very exciting. And then very briefly, an update from the city of Ashland. I serve as the chair of the Conservation Commission that went to the city council and said that we really wanted to do a sustainability plan for the community. They asked us to focus on climate change and energy. And so they gave approval to move forward, and the mayor appointed an ad hoc committee that is currently meeting to start the planning process. Our next meeting is on Wednesday, the 21st of October at 2 o'clock. All meetings are open to the public. That's the only meeting we have scheduled right now, but we'll schedule more meetings when we meet then. And as part of the process, the city's already started doing a greenhouse gas inventory that includes their operations and the community. And the next step is for them to hire a consultant that will help to create the climate action and energy plan that will also focus on the community as a whole. They've put $120,000 over the 2-year budget cycle toward this project, and they're hoping to have a plan that is ready for the City Council to review in January of 2017. I know that was a lot of information. It was really fast, but if you have questions, please direct them either to me or to Kathy, and she'll get them to me. And thank you very much.